2020 is the year of perfection.
In a blaze of glory, the year 2020 has been declared the year of perfection.
Happy New Year! Welcome to 2020. It's a great year.
And with such joy and excitement pervading the atmosphere, the Spirit of God further revealed the intricacies of His plans for us this year.
There's going to be an alignment. The word is completeness. The next one is excellence. The fourth one is from the Greek telesphorio. It means to bring to fruition.
Get ready for a most extraordinary year as you study, meditate, and imbibe this Rhema word for the year of perfection.
You're going to be so full of God's word in 2020. You're going to desire after God's word in 2020. Can you say amen? The moment you set yourself to perfection, you will have it.
It is now available on the Pastor Chris Digital Library app. Tell everyone about it and download your copy now. Visit the ministry materials stand after the service to get a copy. God bless you.
Welcome back. It is still this morning show, and we have had, the morning tonic, the word of the day, echoes of your love world, the what's trending segment, and we are in another beautiful segment. But we have someone joining us on set. He's really, really special to us here in Love World Plus. He is no other person, but before I mention his name, I'm going to read something special about him right now. His name is he is the Group CEO, August I Limited, Security HR Outsourcing Cooperative Background Checks and Services, and he's also the Chairman of Chris Hem Ventures Limited. He is an ex-military officer, fellow LIPS, fellow of CBMB, fellow ICMC, fellow IDMSS, fellow IBMN, and he is the Chartered Mediator, Conciliator, CPO, Masters at some Unilag Mason, MISN, AMNRC, SMLCIF, MIFFFF, and be going. He is also the National Security Secretary to retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, and he is the National Pro Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria. God, I went on with the SSF. Oh my God, he is no other person than Ambassador Roy OKHIDIEVBIE. Good to see you, sir. God, you had me bite my tongue this morning.
Yes, a lot of tongue twisting.
Your epaulets as many as the title there too.
Wow.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's actually very commendable that he keeps so much the time that he was here before most of us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for being here on time.
Yeah, because all the IPPPC, the
FTFTST men.
LMNC, LMAM, and all that.
LMAM, of course.
Okay. So this time around, we're going to be taking a look at security. We have two powerful guests, and he is one of them, very powerful, and the other one will be joining us via Skype. But we are going to be looking at the issue in southern Kaduna and the killings. We're looking at it, are these religious cleansing activities, or is it just a political front? What is really happening in southern Kaduna?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm happy we started with a light note because actually we'll need a lot of light-heartedness to review such an issue that is very dastardly and with the brazen disregard for rules of engagement, rules of policies, government, security agencies, all manners of restrictions have been violated. Let me tell you something. I did 9 years in Kaduna as a military personnel from 1990 to 1999. And in those days, 200 naira to go to the market, you are done for the month. You are done for the month. You don't need to. I was in Kotoko Barracks. We come to the new market and will buy things. Kano and Kaduna was where the Yorubas, the Igbos were trooping to because of the economic viability, because of the tolerance. So many Igbos were given titles in Kano, in Kaduna, and they were allowed to buy land and everything. And there was a proper mix of both the Christians and the Muslims, the non-tribes, the non-Hausas, and all that. So when this whole issue started to dilapidate, unfortunately for me, I was still in Kaduna, and it was so disheartening to see our political irresponsibility taking a foothold into our concerns for human life. Human life became something you can exchange for pleasure, for interest, for concerns, for business, for politics. You just throw human lives away. So human lives became an exchange rate in Nigeria's system. And those are areas where it became very effective to control, because people were not so interested in education, and there was no social media, no phones, no all of that right now to really give people information. Enlightenment was down. The National Orientation Agency had not been able to even orientate themselves. So we came to a foreclose where one bike man would just rush from one part of town to another part of town and say, they are killing people. And this area would just go mayhem. Your neighbor that you were buying bread from or something from just brings out knife, and everybody starts killing everybody without any fact, anything. And after the killing and everything, they think and they thought that life just went back to normal. Because after a week, the military comes out, the police comes out, everybody sheathes their sword, business as usual. There was an underlying pain, an underlying need for revenge, for vengeance, and these things were not exhausted. The discussions were not exhaustive. The town hall meetings were programmed to encourage the presentations of any political person that comes on board. He will just call town hall meeting, I want to make peace, and just to show that he has interest, not knowing that his interest is distracted and diverted towards his political plans and objectives. So human life became changeable with whatever interest they had.
Became, like you just mentioned, became a tool for political campaign, bargain, and all that. Now, these people in southern Kaduna, they are calling for the creation of a new state that they want to leave because they feel they are being targeted unjustly every time. Like you mentioned, someone just come with a bike and say, oh, they are killing in the other place. And people that were supposed to be neighbors, they start killing each other. So give us a way forward. The call for state creation and all that, how will it help the situation in southern Kaduna?
Most times when I hear, like when we started with the Biafra issue and all that, I usually ask people, is there any rallying point within the people? If you need a state, you need to be a state. Do you people have a rallying point? Let's take back a little history, because I don't want to mention names. It's not necessary anymore. By the closing remarks, I will let you know one or two things that I discovered in the Bible about what's happening in Kaduna State. Now, if you look at the people of Kaduna, I served in Kaduna, and I've mixed up with so many military people, and I know that southern Kaduna people are like Benue too. They have interest in joining security agencies, government security agencies. So I have always been thinking, where is this rapport? Where is this platform that have been created to give audience and voice to the government security agencies personnel who have served many years? I have friends that are imam now, that we serve together as soldiers. I have friends that are village heads in Muslim Islam catchments that we serve together in the military. That serving together has already created an avenue for discourse. So these guys that retired from the police, the army, the Air Force, everything in southern Kaduna, have they ever come together to now create a window to meet up with their colleagues who are also retired in the, because this is combat, this is war. You know, so I've looked at all of these government personnel that have been, like this last Oga that spoke, from NNPC, from CBN, from federal executive positions, you know, government making positions, the judiciary, you know, so many of them have gotten to be chief justices. How many has put in certain kind of strong and effective, communicative and resolutive positions? You know, how many has gathered together, has taken this thing to world courts, you know, have taken this thing to world human rights platforms? You know, so anytime I cry, I always ask myself, am I crying for the right reason? So the North, the South, the Hausa, the Fulani, the Southern Kaduna people, all of them have areas where they have missed it.
Sure.
You know, so we need to address that.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Sorry.
Okay.
We have someone from Southern Kaduna who is on standby and going to be joining us now. You know, we can tell the stories, we can read all of these things on the newspaper, on the news media, but having someone there tell us exactly what is happening is very crucial. Yeah. Okay, so he is, I'm just going to take Honorable Jonathan, yes.
Okay.
And he's joining us right now. He is he's representing the Zangun Katav Jabba Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. He is the presidential advisor. He was the presidential advisor, National Assembly matters to the former president, President Olusegun Obasanjo. He is chairman, caretaker committee, Zangun Katav local government area of Kaduna State, and he has recently defended his PhD thesis on space physics from the University of Jos, and is currently the president of the Southern Kaduna's People Union. And we have Honorable Jonathan ASAKE joining us right now via call. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good
Honorable
morning.
ASAKE, it's a pleasure to have you on our program, and I want to ask you this very straightforward. The crisis we're witnessing in Kaduna State, particularly in Southern Kaduna, is it more of ethnic, religion, tribal, or political? What exactly is it? Because you're on the ground there.
Okay, so sorry, thank you very much. Before I go into that, let me just make some corrections in my introduction. I am not still in the House. I was a member of the National Assembly, but I'm not still there. And all those positions, I'm not still there. So let me make that correction. And as for my PhD, I'm still on it. I'm not defended. So let me make the point straight before I go into what you're asking. First of all, like I always say, the situation is still the same. With the ambassador we have there, he actually knows so much about Kaduna and about Southern Kaduna. What we had before, I always insisted, was, you know, either communal clashes, ethno-religious clashes, like the 1987 crisis that took place in Kafanchan and escalated to Kaduna, Zaria, and beyond, and political crises like the 2011 post-presidential election crisis, where Goodluck Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari were contesting, and when the results were being announced, then killing started on party basis, and it culminated into ethno-religious crisis. So we all have that. But what is playing out today is different. I will always maintain that. What we have is that we have a militia group that continues to go from community to community across the local governments of the southern part of Kaduna State, massacring people in their numbers. Oftentimes they attack in the night. And when they fire gunshots and women and children are running, trying to carry their children, they will be hacking them down with either machetes or gunning them down with bullets. And at the wake of the day, you find out that people are dead, only either in their tens or in their hundreds, depending on the level of attack. And after that, people are displaced out of their communities and they cannot go back. If they attempt to go back to farm, they are killed. So we have several people across our local governments that have been killed. We have mass graves everywhere. And we have people that have been displaced. In fact, over 50,000 people now have been displaced in various communities across the local governments. And so this is what has been happening. But what is more worrisome is the faulty narratives that are being given to the public. When this killing started, we heard that there were unknown gunmen. Every time they go and kill, they will say they are unknown gunmen. But each time they will say, let there be dialogue. And they will call the natives or leaders of the indigents. And then you will see they will call some Fulani herdsmen that you never know. Some of them don't even know why they are being called. And they will say you sit down with them and dialogue. And after that, you will see more killings. Then we move from that narrative to communal clashes. And it is not any communal clashes because the people that are being killed, they are mostly women and children, 90%. And they are killed, they are attacked at night, and they are macheted, and so they are not involved in any communal clash. A communal clash, you see two communities, you know, fighting, and you find casualties on both sides. But in this case, you always have one-sided attack. And then we also, when the narrative is that the governor has always maintained that there are killings in Sokoto, in Jigawa, and other places of the north, but that when it comes to southern Kaduna, we give it a religious connotation. That we say because we are Christians. That is not true. The communities that are being targeted and attacked every time and displaced and massacred in their numbers, they are mostly Christian communities. So one has a reason to make the conclusion that it is Christian communities that are being targeted and that are being displaced every time. And of course, there has been this other narrative of farmers-herders clash. And this has been promoted even by the media, that it is every time they say it is a farmers and herders clash. But let me ask the question. We have videos, we have pictures, we have live testimonies of victims, people that have been displaced in their hundreds. And the people that have been displaced and have been killed, they were not killed in their farms. They were not killed while farming. They were killed in the midnight. They were attacked in the midnight, and most of them were killed in their sleep. If you see the pictures we have, the videos, you will see women trying to protect their children, you know, to protect their infants, and they are born to ashes beyond recognition. So that cannot be in the farm. And the people that come to kill them come with guns. Yeah, they come with AK-47 to kill. So they are not. They are not. They don't come with cattle at that wee hours of the night. So these are all narratives to misrepresent facts. And we have also heard the narrative of the reprisals. Of course, when 33 youngsters were killed in Jema local government just about 3 weeks ago, while they were celebrating the wedding of one of their own, they were all teenagers, and they were gone down. But what we heard from the presidency through Garba Shehu, the spokesman, was that the communities are involved in reprisals. And the Operation Safe Haven commander also said that it is a group of tribal groups, Fulani, he called it Fulani militia, and Katavut, that are involved in reprisals. And so we begin to wonder, is there some kind of, you know, conspiracy against the people of Southern Kaduna by the authorities that ought to protect the people? And that is why, even yesterday, when the governor was on air on one of the national televisions, and he continued to insist that the solution to peace in our place in Southern Kaduna depends on the victim communities, that it depends on the leaders of the victim communities. And we ask the question, how will the victim communities make peace when they are being killed? All we want is for him to stop the killing, being the chief security officer of the state, He has the resources. He has claimed that he has spent 16 billion to keep the peace. But we have not seen the killing stopped in our place. In fact, the last killings of over 73 attacks have been staged in Zango local government in the last 1 month. And within that 1 month, the local government has been under 24 hours curfew up till now. 24 hours curfew. You can't imagine, nobody can go out to buy, nobody can go out to sell, nobody can go out to fend for his family, nobody can go out to farm. Even some youth went to farm, they were arrested, they were still in detention. But within that time, 3 attacks have taken place. And about 70 people have been killed in those attacks within the 24 hours curfew that has been running for over 8 weeks now. So we begin to wonder, what is going on?
What's really going on?
Genocide is going on.
We can feel your pain.
And that is where we are.
We can feel your pain, and that's why we allowed you to really express the emotions of people in southern Kaduna at the moment. And we still have Roy OKHIDIEVBIE, who you said basically the same thing. The leaders, the politicians, they politicize the security of these people, and they basically make it so casual. So how do you relate these findings with what ASAKE is saying? Even as of yesterday, the governor is saying make peace. The victims should make peace with those attacking them. Who are the attackers, and why can the attackers be the ones to be told to put
And
down
in relation to what you just said, is there, all of this, do this justify the need for restructuring?
The creation of a new state
yes,
for them.
Yes, we'll get there. Okay, now you can see what he just added to. He fleshed it up.
Yes.
You know, I didn't want to go into all of that. Now, let me tell you something. You know, there is Muslim and Christian crisis, which is religious crisis in Nigeria. Now, when that started in those days, we used to advise, because we'll just be in the barrack and alarm would blow, you dash to the quota guard, you go and pick your rifle, you rush to the town, you cannot come, maybe you won't come back for the next 1 or 2 months. You are keeping peace in the town. But we used to say that Muslims, Islam, has continuously professed that they don't support violence.
Yes.
If you hear some high Muslim, high-ranking imams, all those people, they will come out and show you places in the Bible where Christians, even Muhammad has said that they should love Christians, they should, you know, so Mary is mentioned in the Quran, all of that, blah, blah, blah. Now, when these kind of issues come up between Christians and Muslims, you will always hear that those that carried out the violence were those with wrong ideology.
Yes.
But we were liking it because we can't hold them. Everybody will just hide behind, it is fanatics, it is, then IML came on board. Then this Boko Haram stuff came on board. And the government were trying to suppress them, that these are Islamic extremists, not the real Islam that love peace. And everybody loved it because it was a point to really dish back. So when the Muslims and the Christians have issues, everybody relaxes, let the hoodlums and everybody come out. We have it too here. You have some people, they call them area boys and all of that. You say, oh, Yoruba people don't behave like this. It's hoodlum. Edo people don't behave like this. But that one was extreme. Why? Because it really takes life and takes it from their sleep. With the children, the pregnant women are cut open. I've seen it in my eyes when I was a soldier in Kaduna. Okay, but we supported it. Now, when the Boko Haram the Islamic extremism turned to Boko Haram, everybody it started to attack Muslims too in the north. Now, this breakout that you are seeing, all of these kind of killings that you are seeing, in the herdsmen culture, in the ungoverned spaces that we have, there are armed militia that are the government. They collect taxes from fishermen, they collect from herders, they rustle cattle and sell, you know, and they collect from farmers. And these are the people that let loose. Now, what if someone pays them, just like I pay an assassin, and say, go and kill this guy, is my enemy. So they are just there waiting for the highest bidder. So it is government's responsibility to dispel and disband them. So it is nobody's responsibility than government, because if the people wants to do that, you will say XYZ people are taking up arms and the government will go after them. Even to break curfew, because you are protecting your community, they will pick you up. So it is government's responsibility. So for the governor to be saying that he has spent XYZ amount for that, I think it's false presentation. And I think that he has not tried to nip it at the board. Where is the board? The board is to first accept that these people are fighting for the Muslim catchment. A Christian will not go and pay radicals to go and kill innocent Christians in their sleep. So definitely it is that. Then if somebody is trying to disband your government, then you look for those people that you have issues with, go and settle with them, because we all know in Nigeria that if I don't like this government, I start to do things that causes insecurity. I start to bring things that brings economic hardship because I want to campaign for a solution. I don't care about the people that die.
And I'll soon be noticed.
Yeah. So
we still have Honorable online with us. Honorable, something happened during the weekend and it was reported in the media, and that was something that we also read on one of our trending stories, that the military airstrike actually did hit the camp of one of those people, of these bandits in southern Kaduna. We want to know how true is it, because we've seen a lot of misrepresentation of the media and some of the things that you did tell us today, and how the media has been saying it's been communal clashes. Meanwhile, there are other undertones to it. Tell us, how true was this military airstrike in the Kuduru forest area of Kaduna State?
Well, I have heard stories myself of this bombing of bandits, one time so many. But one thing that I know that has remained constant is that the killings have never stopped. The massacre in our communities have not stopped. And that the Chief Security Officer, Governor El-Rufai, has continued to speak as if every time there is an attack, he is justifying the killings. And he was asked a question yesterday on the national television I'm talking about. And because we've been complaining of all this series of attacks that have continued since January up till today, with several communities displaced, living in very dehumanizing conditions, with nobody taking care of them, only good-spirited individuals and organizations, particularly faith-based organizations, that have been taking food and other relief materials to them, with no social amenities available to them, with the teeming children out of school. In fact, some have been out of school for more than 1 year now. Schools have been closed down in most of these communities. But he has not for one day condemned the attacks in southern Kaduna. He has not for one day sympathized with victims of these attacks. He has not for one day visited these areas that have been attacked to assess for himself the humanitarian crisis that the people are facing. But every time he is coming up to defend or explain why the attacks take place or justify the attacks. And of course, this has become very worrisome to us, especially when the Supreme Council for Implementation of Sharia also came up in a press conference last week and said that the solution to peace in southern Kaduna is that General Zamani Lekot and 5 others must be killed, arising from the 1992 Zangon Katab crisis, where a commission of inquiry was set, and they came out with their findings. And of course, implementation of these findings, most of it has been implemented. So we wonder why revisiting. He has constituted a committee to revisit the 1992 crisis of Zangon Katab, 28 years after. But he has not constituted a committee to revisit the 2011 crisis, which killed more people and made more destruction than the Zangon Katab crisis, or the Miss World crisis of 2002, which killed a lot of people, or the Sharia crisis of 2000, of February and May 2000, which killed more people and more destruction. So we wonder what actually is happening, that will take the Supreme Council of Sharia, Implementation of Sharia, to now pronounce, a religious body, to pronounce to government that certain people must be killed. Most of those people are dead that they are talking about. They are dead. And some are still living. So what are they working in concert with the government? Is the body language of the governor that they are working with? Or it was Southern, and then a group of Fulani also came out and said they are the real owners of Southern Kaduna. So that means that Southern Kaduna people have no land because we have nowhere to go on earth. We cannot go to Kano, we cannot come to Lagos, we cannot go to Enugu, we cannot go to America. It is only that part of the world called Southern Kaduna that we have. Now, people are laying claim to it when we have a constituted authority. And they have lived up to their threat by attacking, massacring, displacing populations in those areas. And some of these communities have been taken over. And no effort has been made up till now to bring these people to justice, to apprehend them or prosecute them. And most of them are known. The attackers are known most of the times, but nothing has been done. So there is no justice. So where do we go to find justice? That is the question that every Southern Kaduna man is asking. And upon this, the governor had continued again to promote a certain narrative that the people of Southern Kaduna do not like visitors in their midst, that they only like people of Christian faith and people of their ethnicity. But how false this is, how misleading and unfortunate this can be coming from a public official, because the people who have been to Kaduna State, the people who have had touch with the people of Southern Kaduna know that this is not true. We are made up of about 64 ethnic nationalities. We are all living in peace. And we have other nationalities from the South-South, the Southeast, the Southwest, the Plateau, Taraba, Benue, and other places of the nation. We have been living in peace for years. Why is it only with the Fulanis that come to attack us? Not that we have gone to attack, not that our people have gone to attack. We are only crying, stop the killing. And these false narratives are being promoted to incite the rest of the country against the people of Southern Kaduna. But people who have had contact with Southern Kaduna know the truth. The ambassador that sits there in the studio know the truth that the people of Southern Kaduna are the most tolerant, most welcoming people, and most accommodating. And the facts are there. People can take a fact finding to our places and find out for themselves.
Honorable ASAKE, we indeed empathize with you. And Ambassador has actually been shaking his head to actually lend a credence to what you're saying, that people in Southern Kaduna really, really welcome visitors. But on a last note, because there is no doubt about it that there must be an end to this crisis. Yes. It is unfortunate that in spite of the curfew, these nefarious acts are still being perpetrated. Do you see Sokapu plus other stakeholders sitting side by side with the governor and talking to end this crisis? Because there must be an end to it. On a final note, sir.
Even before my coming on board as president of Sokapu, we came on board December 28th last year. We're barely 8 months now. But at the handover notes of my predecessor, Barrister Solomon Musa, he let the world know, it was widely reported in this day, how they have made concerted effort to meet with the governor or his agents, and it was turned down severally. The governor has not hidden his mindset about any idea of sitting together. In fact, he had gone public on national television and told the world that he is not interested in meeting with our leaders. And he reiterated that one yesterday. In fact, he is accusing our religious leaders. He continued to accuse our traditional rulers and our socio-cultural groups like the one I am heading now, that we are the cause of the problem. And we keep asking, how are we the cause of the problem? When people are being invaded, when communities are being invaded, and people are being massacred at night, and their property being destroyed, and they are being chased out, and nothing is done to the people, to the aggressors. And yet, he said he doesn't want to have any meeting. He reiterated it yesterday. It's in the public domain. I'm not saying it for him. So we wonder, what kind of style of leadership. And we have continued to say we are willing at any given time to meet with whoever that will stop these killings. We are not interested in seeing women and children being killed every time, mass graves everywhere, mass burials every time, and people displaced with humanitarian crisis. We take relief materials, we take food items to them, but when you take them this week, you are wondering where we get them next week because the government is not involved. And international agencies have not been allowed to even know the huge humanitarian crisis that exists in southern Kaduna. So that is our plight. We are ready to sit and bring peace. But first, let there be justice. Let the people be returned back to their communities. Let those that have displaced them be brought to justice. Let them be apprehended and prosecuted. And let the people be resettled and be given a new leaf of life to live. Then we can say when there is justice, then we know that the government is really very serious. I mean, it means it to resettle our people and for peace to return.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ambassador,
Yes.
they've not been able to sit with the governor on a one-on-one.
Okay.
But we know that there must be an end to all of
This
this.
crisis.
What do you see as the way out?
Okay. In the first place, let me tell you that having a state for southern Kaduna will not work. Okay. If I tell you that it will not work, I mean that it will not work. If you go to Kaduna, all the military and police strong installations are already in the northern
Part of Kaduna.
Yes. In the southern part of Kaduna, you have less of government presence.
Okay.
Okay, and because you have less of government presence, all the high-profile persons that are indigenous from that place have refused to open businesses there. They have also refused to build houses there where they live in. You know,
southern Kaduna?
yes, in southern Kaduna, because it has a lot of ungoverned spaces, a lot of outskirts communities that are exposed. They don't even pay tax to the government. They pay tax to any hoodlum, any of those bandits that come around. So we have that problem already. So immediately you declare a state for southern Kaduna, you are already exposing them to more internal conflict, which will be fueled by different kinds of people to prove that we said they can't have a state.
Yeah.
So we must make that place governable first. We must have the indigenes come back to say, okay, this is our place, we believe in it, we're ready to die in it, and build structures, structures of governance and government support. One thing surviving Lagos is private partnership with the people.
Yes,
now,
PPP.
another thing you need to look at now, following from what he said, sitting down with the governor. The governor is one of the governors in 36 states of the country, an FCT. So if you want to insist to put a governor to bear, you have to first, you have two angles. One, the executive. You can get that done from Abuja, which is the executive, which all governors are answerable to. Then the second one, because I don't want to go through the governors forum, because that governors forum has not been effective. The second area you can get the governor to listen is through his party. You know, so if there are ways you can create lobbying channels to create access to people that be in the party, and those ones begin to insist, because the APC is also made up of Christians and Muslims. So if you get to those kind of people and they insist that he comes to a discussion platform, and you involve the APC, which is the ruling party, which also maybe the governor came from, and you say also the APC is also a contributing party to the discourse, then he has no reason not to be there, because he'll be invited by a superior authority. Now, finally, on that aspect of making the governor talk, if all of this fails, then there are things that Nigeria gets from foreign and Western communities, Western platforms like AIDS, benefits for training and all of that. It could be stopped. I remember in Jonathan's time, we could not buy any weapon or anything because the Western world felt that they were not communicating.
Yes.
Okay, now, so why can't this Western world, who has been so active for COVID-19, why can't they come now and say, this has killed more than COVID-19? Can we take a position and say we are mandating the Nigerian government to take another look with us, the Western, the international community, as participatory bodies to that panel of inquiry to see what's going to happen? Ordinary election, Will we have international community coming to see what is happening? Why can't we have international communities coming in now to mandate to be present in such discourse and to follow it to a logical conclusion?
True. Very true. Thank you so much, Honorable ASAKE, for joining us on this particular topic. Thank you so much for joining. But we will still keep communications with you as we need to know exactly what is happening in Kaduna State. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's really a big question. Is it actually a religious cleansing or it's a political one? Because
No, I said there is a Bible solution.
yes,
So let me
he
close
was
with
going to
that.
give us the Bible
Now,
solution.
when Jesus came, he met a lot of laws.
Yeah.
There were Moses' laws, there were the Israelites had their law, the Jewish laws and all that. He collapsed everything. He collapsed everything and he said, let love lead. You know, so if Nigeria wants to move forward, we must first of all look at the option of love. Because we have no alternative. We must exercise and exhibit love. That is the only solution.
That is the only solution.
only solution.
Love exactly is the only solution. If you love me the way I love you, I would not come creeping into your apartment at night and kill you and displace you from your community. So love is actually the solution to every of man's problem. But this is where we have to, you know, draw the curtains for this edition of this morning, and it's been amazing. Thank you so much, Ambassador Roy OKHIDIEVBIE, for joining us on this edition of the morning show. It's always a pleasure, and it's been amazing with my amazing co-host, Shegun Adebowale.
We'll do it again tomorrow.
And it's all handled.
My name is Sylvia Chikudima. Till we see you again bright and early tomorrow, remember to always let love lead the way.
And this evening, tonight?
Tonight.
Yeah.
Today
7
is the
PM,
beginning
GMT+1.
of season 2, phase 4 with our dear man of God. You do not want to miss it. And all we are saying is that you've got to stay glued to your, favorite channel, which is Love All Plus, where we bring you live feed from our dear man of God. The words of our man of God has preserved
Make
us
sure you do not
during
miss
this
it
time.
for anything.
Don't miss it. Don't miss
For
it.
anything.
And we'll be here for Beyond the Facts. So Beyond the Facts and post Beyond the Facts. Before the Your Love World specials, we have Beyond the Facts, and after Your Love World specials, we have Beyond the Facts. And trust me, the analysts that are going to be on this segment this evening and before will be ready for you today. But we'll see you again tomorrow, bright and early.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.